current issue in Islamic finance, as we all know, that after the current crisis in the conventional finance, the market has developed considerably and a huge interest in Islamic finance. But most importantly, most people tend to forget that in Islamic finance, the crucial element for compliance is Sharia compliance, and it is very essential to get a Sharia board on board, so to speak, for your initiative in Islamic finance, whether it be a fund, a product, or transaction. You need a Sharia board, and the earlier you appoint a Sharia board, the better. Nowadays, we tend to seem to see the same names over and over again with regard to Sharia boards and the same Sharia scholars. I think we need, for the sake of the industry, to promote and encourage other scholars and younger scholars, because at the end of the day, Sharia is Sharia, and fiqh al-ma'amulat is fiqh al-ma'amulat. We need to cover and encourage this, because some of the scholars have take on a lot of work, their time is taken on, because it's not the scholars' fault, don't get me wrong, it's the institutions, because they find that they want the easy route, so they try and get the same well-known scholars, and these scholars cannot take on all that work, and they need to promote the younger scholars and hand the work further, because as the industry develops and the work develops, there will be sufficient work for everyone, and these scholars, the younger ones, will be the future of Sharia compliance. In that essence, I think it's important to get scholars, because when you don't forget that when you have the Sharia audit function to be done as well, where are you going to get that audit function done when the Sharia scholars have approved the fund and have given a fatwa on a product or transaction? They need to have the Sharia audit done, but can they do the audit as well? So that's why we need to create maybe two different functions, a Sharia supervisory board to approve the product and a Sharia audit board to audit these functions and the criteria laid down by the Sharia supervisory board. There is considerable amount of work in the marketplace now for everyone, and the future needs this. Industry demands that we create a bigger field. We need standardization and harmonization to make this a global product, and we need product structures and documentation that sort of like is the master documentation and our master agreements, so that they're globally accepted and becomes an industry standard for a global acceptance. The function of Sharia boards is very paramount. The industry grows and grows on a daily basis, and to be a force and a competitor and an alternative to conventional finance, we need to get more Sharia scholars involved in this thing, whether it be through training, through apprenticeship, or however. It is essential we endeavor to create this supply to fulfill the demand. As the sector is developing and the demand grows, we need more Sharia consultancies, but the issue becomes that now that is the way forward as consultants rather than individual scholars, because you have the risk element involved in that, reputational risk, etc. What we need to find more than anything else is that I'm very pleased to see that a lot of the scholars have now set up consultancies and set up their own outfits, but there is still the question of overlapping of scholars. That means, you know, you have the issue of conflict of interest. Can you imagine a partner at a law firm being an advisor to another law firm? This is the issue. There's good governance and transparency issues that arise, and risk issues arise, and we need to counter those as well.